Welcome to Intuitive Vibes. Erica here. So first and foremost, if you are new to the channel, if you haven't already, please go through some of my other content. If you find my videos to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, then please hit the subscribe button so that way you're notified every time I put up a video. To all of my returning subscribers, my existing vibers, welcome back. So in this video, what I wanted to talk about was the inverted narcissist. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have either heard of the inverted narcissist, have been with an inverted narcissist, have lived with one, have been raised by one, what have you. The inverted narcissist is known to be the covert codependent narcissist. Now, let's just be clear, because when I explain what the inverted narcissist is about, it's not to be confused with a codependent nor an empath. Empaths are not narcissists. Empaths are extremely feeling people. People that are truly, truly sensitive, very sensitive people. They can feel your energy, they can feel your feelings. Their emotions can pretty much grasp onto your emotions, and they can actually absorb that. Okay? Most empaths do attract narcissists because narcissists are, of course, energy vampires. And when they see that they have someone who's extremely feeling, extremely emotional, extremely giving, because empaths are giving people, not to be confused with codependents, but they are giving people. They are very, very in tune with themselves, pretty much here. And they're very loving people. So needless to say, a narcissist would be attracted to that because the empath would be giving them the attention, the validation, the sensitivity, pretty much everything a narcissist wants but can't be. Unfortunately, empaths do, however, stay stuck in a cycle with narcissists because they want to heal, they want to help, they want to bring them out of that state of mind, bring them out of that dark energy. But all it does is really drain them. So whenever you hear someone speaking of themselves as being an empath, as being an extremely sensitive and feeling person, 9 out of 10 times they have attracted narcissists in their life because, well, narcissists can pick up on that energy, especially if they're looking to suck the life out of people. Now, codependents are people who rely on other people for emotional gratification, to perform daily functions, or to feel validation. They're extremely clingy, needy, demanding, and in most cases, they fear abandonment. Codependents were either raised by narcissists where they were emotionally shut out by their parents, or in some cases have even been abandoned by their parents. Maybe their parents were inconsistent in their lives. Anything is possible when it comes to a codependent, but that's not the kind of life, obviously, that anybody has ever asked for. Remember, a narcissist and a codependent are people that were created, not born that way. You're not born a codependent, you're not born a narcissist, you are programmed to be. Now, codependents remain in abusive relationships because they fear abandonment. They think that the abuser, which gives them reward and punishment behavior, really does love them, and the abuse is actually their fault. So a lot of the time, the codependents don't really see the abuse as being the abuser's problem. Instead, they internalize the abuse and take it as it being their own problem. So codependents generally feel that I'm being abused because I'm doing something wrong, not because the abuser is actually abusing me. They stay in relationships because they fear being alone. They stay in relationships because they need some form of validation and they're afraid. That's how they become enablers. And the abuser takes advantage of that. The abuser then continues on with the abuse and it gets worse. Unfortunately, the inverted narcissist is a codependent who relies exclusively on relationships with narcissists. Now, let me just say this. If you live with a narcissist, if your parents are narcissists, if you are married to a narcissist, if you are friends with narcissists, does not matter. That does not necessarily make you an inverted narcissist, okay? So let's just be very, very clear on that. Now, in order to classify as an inverted narcissist, you have to crave being in a relationship with narcissists. regardless of the abuse. It's just something that is within you that you find. Narcissistic abuse, it sounds crazy, but narcissistic abuse is pretty much, to an inverted narcissist, it's okay. Inverted narcissists actively look for relationships with narcissists. They actively look for the dynamics that one would have with a narcissist. Inverted narcissists are internally unhappy. They are empty. They feel like a hollow shell. If they are in any other relationships with other people that are not narcissists, inverted narcissists are so accustomed to narcissistic abuse. They're so accustomed to the dynamics of being with a narcissist, dynamics of being raised by a narcissist, dynamics of being consumed by narcissists, that they become codependent on it. Which means that if you are with an inverted narcissist and you're a normal person, and hell, we'll even go one further, even if you're a codependent, it will never work, because an inverted narcissist has to be with narcissists. They will not last in any other kind of relationship, no matter how much normality you want to give them. They will not last. It has to be with another narc. Inverted narcissists, aka covert narcissists, are the codependents. So with every codependent, what do you have? A counterdependent. The counterdependents are the overt narcissists. Those are the ones who are very brazen, very haughty, very loud, very obnoxious, very rude, very crude. They have no problem embarrassing you in front of people, making jokes about you, putting you down in front of people. The overt narcissists are the ones with the really hardened shells. But deep down inside, much like any narcissist that exists, they have a very hollow center. They feel worthless. They feel like they're not really anything. But that egotistical hard shell will have you thinking otherwise. That's their false mask. They're trying to basically show you that I'm the big one, I'm the big man or big woman of the team. Overt narcissists are not team players. They're the lone wolves. They're fiercely independent. They try to avoid commitment because they have a fear of intimacy. So they're pretty much the loners. They're the ones who despise authority. They don't like to be told what to do. They're very aggressive. They're very abrasive. So if they see that you are getting too close, or the intimacy part is getting a little too much for them, they're the ones who will just run the discard and pretty much haul ass. Their thing is, I'm about me, my ego, my selfish needs, my wants. It's what I say. This is being pushed onto me. I don't like it. And you know what? I'm just going to get rid of you because you're violating my space. You're violating this here. Because they, like I said, they're pretty much empty on the inside. Unfortunately. Inverted narcissists, much like other narcissists, because it is a covert narcissist, you will get the same response as you would with any other narcissist, especially if there's narcissistic injury involved. So if you hit the ego, if you manage to accomplish certain things and that, bit of jealousy comes in, if you've managed to do what you have been doing and normally do when it comes to narcissists, they don't like that. Criticism, all of it's still the same. Narcissists, whether codependent or not, have very sensitive egos. That's the one key thing we have to understand. They have extremely sensitive egos. We all have an ego, but narcissists have a very, very sensitive yet inflated ego. That's pretty much their cover-up. Their egos are their cover-up because deep down inside, they feel empty, hollow, and just pretty much worthless. Now, the rage of an inverted narcissist can be extremely scary, and it can be extremely dangerous. We know that narcissists are dangerous, and we know their tendencies are even more dangerous. So when you're dealing with an inverted narcissist, they can become, in the rage part, they can become extremely emotionally abusive. They can become verbally abusive, and in most cases, physically abusive. They can become very hostile. We learn inverted narcissists, or any narcissist for that, deep down inside, under that cover up, under that false mask, under that ego, under whatever it is that they're trying to bluff you with. We know the one thing about these narcissists: they're weak. They're weak. They feel empty. They feel useless. They feel worthless. And even though we can, a lot of us good people choose not to even go there with it. When the inverted narcissist feels that their self-esteem and their ego is being threatened, when they feel that their position is being threatened, they can become extremely vengeful. And they can become extremely volatile, where they can cause a lot of damage, extreme damage. Now, once all is said and done, because you know how it is with most narcissists, once all is said and done, they're either going to try the Hoover tactics, or they're going to try to, swindle you back in. An inverted narcissist will basically be followed with a long period of silence. It's just going to be silence, an eerie, thunderous silence. So silent that it practically screams at you. All to be followed by the realization, guilt, shame, and regret. That's all going to be followed by profuse apologies. That is where they're going to come to that realization, because they have sunken so low that they're going to pretty much, from that point, apologize to you and try to appear to be empathetic. Try to really get back in your good graces. Try to really show that they're sorry. Try to show that they didn't mean to do the things that they did. Now, one of the biggest difference between an inverted narcissist and non-narcissist, when the breakup happens, especially if an inverted narcissist is being discarded by another narcissist, is that unlike the non-narcissist, inverted narcissist will not experience PTSD. So if you've been through narcissistic abuse and you've been through the narcissistic discard, obviously have gone through PTSD. The inverted narcissist is pretty much desensitized. They've been going through this most of their life, whether it be from their parents up into their relationships. So when they are breaking up with another narcissist or vice versa, they will not experience PTSD. They're pretty much just on to the next narcissist. That sounds so crazy saying that too, man. Now, considering inverted narcissists have to have their lives engulfed with narcissists, with other narcissists, needless to say, they have been raised by parents or family that have their handful of narcissists in there as well. Usually, inverted narcissists come from families that are very stifled. And by stifled, I mean that are very, very close and closed. It's very damn near suffocating. So majority of the time, you're going to have an inverted narcissist who had a very, very extreme tyrant narcissistic parent, whether it be the mom or dad or both. The dynamics within that family would be of extreme conflict and discomfort. Very domineering settings, which means that if they had a parent or both parents were narcissists, extremists, because you do have people that are into religion that are narcissists. We've gone over this too, especially if they come from a very strict, strong religious background. That can also be the kind of dynamic that an inverted narcissist has pretty much been raised in. If you're dealing with an inverted narcissist, more than likely they've had a parent or a caregiver that was extremely domineering, extremely narcissistic, extremely dangerous. Because with having that type of caregiver in their life, it's a roller coaster ride when it comes to the upbringing of an inverted. For most narcissists, they're dealing with two types of parents. They're either dealing with parents who are overbearing in that they will boost their ego, they will fill them up with the grandiosity, and they will pretty much just put them on a pedestal. those are the parents that are pretty much projecting their ideal selves onto the child because they want the child to follow within their footsteps. But here's the thing, those footsteps do not exist because those are ideals. Those are what they think of themselves, but not how they feel about themselves. Another set of parents they are completely aloof, emotionally distant, and they project onto the child what they truly and utterly feel about themselves, which would be self-loathing, disgust, things to that effect. For an inverted narcissist, it's a back and forth game for them. It's very inconsistent, and this is what creates codependence. When you have parents that are inconsistent emotionally, inconsistent as a caregiver, it makes the child confused. The child does not know what to do in that stance. So inverted narcissists are pretty much part of a very domineering, very closed in, very close knit, usually due to cultural circumstances. They are pretty much within that dynamic. But any narcissistic parent, of course, they cannot be simple because they're confused themselves. They end up confusing their children. They end up confusing the dependents because that's what children are. They're dependents. And because the inverted narcissist is in an environment of tyranny and dominance and fear and excitement and fright and grandiosity, it's just so confusing. They end up just internalizing the abuse, the confusion in the most negative way possible. So they're pretty much emitting that. They're projecting that because they feel miserable. They feel unspecial. They feel unloved. They feel unworthy. They feel all of the negative things that anyone can possibly feel about themselves when they're at their lowest point, and they get casted as the negative one of the family. So everybody looks to them as being the negative one of the group. So because this person didn't ask to be treated the way they've been treated, not only have they had to endure the abuse, they've internalized it, and they're pretty much being casted as the negative one because they're projecting it. And unfortunately, it's a no-win situation when it comes to being an inverted narcissist, because narcissists are either codependent or counterdependent. Counterdependents are usually the really extremely egotistical ones who avoid intimacy, avoid relationships, and just want their narcissistic supply. Codependents are obviously the ones who want the validation. They want the intimacy, but there's that fear because that fear of abandonment, that fear of hurt, that fear of being left alone, that fear of losing their validation. So just keep that in mind, guys. Well, guys, if you wondered if a narcissist can be in a relationship with another narcissist, inverted narcissists are clear-cut proof that they not only attract other narcissists, but they prefer other narcissists. Just remember something. Two extremely egotistical, arrogant, have to be in control narcissists usually don't last, because that's that fight for the throne. And well, then again, if we're lucky, they'll beat the shit out of each other, and that'll be the end of that. But we're not going to endorse that. But yes, you can have a narcissist in a relationship with another narcissist. And just remember one thing, guys. Inverted narcissists are not only okay with being in relationships and being in dynamics with other narcissists, but they are reliant on it. They will not last in relationships with normal people or even codependent people. It will never last. Their idea is, I'm attracted to a narcissist. I want to be with a narcissist. I don't care about the abuse. I don't care about the narcissistic rage. I don't care about any of that. That is what I'm used to. That is what I like. So if you know someone who is consistently dating narcissists and they are consistently okay with the abuse going on, the narcissistic abuse, if they crave that relationship with them, they just may be an inverted narcissist. If you know someone who goes back consistently to their narcissist ex, who consistently lets them in, who consistently runs back to them or lets them crawl back in, they may be an inverted narcissist. So what did not make sense to you before will make sense to you now. And of course, if you find yourself consistently attracting narcissists, if you find yourself consistently going out with narcissists, or they're just falling in your lap, that does not make you an inverted narcissist. You're not asking for it. You're not sitting there acknowledging that there are narcissists and continuing with them. You're going through the motions of it. You don't like it. You're not inverted. And of course, if you are with a narcissist, you acknowledge that they are a narcissist and you still want to remain in the dynamic with the narcissist. That does not necessarily make you an inverted narcissist. If you break out of the dynamic and you decide to see someone else, if they happen to be normal, if they happen to be on a healthier scale and you're okay with that and you're happy with that, well, guess what, sweetheart? You're not an inverted narcissist. You just happen to be in a cycle a little bit longer than necessary. But I'm not judging anybody because we all go through our emotions. So guys, this is the video of the inverted narcissist, aka the covert codependent narcissist. If you like the video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please be sure to leave it in the comment section below. As always, love, peace, blessings to you all. And until next time, guys, namaste.